Today on Bridging Futures, RUSD's Educational Safety and Security conducts anti-bullying assemblies.
I want you guys to be the example of how it is to treat each other with respect. And I got to point out one thing I want you guys to realize. As I'm looking around, this school is filled with diversity. And that means difference.
The Rialto Unified School District Safety Department is moving forward with launching its student intervention prevention programs throughout the district. One of the key components of that is our anti-bullying program. We realize that direct engagement is the most powerful tool in order for us to be able to make inroads with our students in terms of them making right decisions and dealing with the daily challenges that they face.
My opinion
for Communications and Media Services for the Rialto Unified School District.
Buenas tardes, padres, tutores. Sabemos que nos escuchan en esta sala. En la otra sala están otras personas que nos están escuchando también. Yo soy José Reyes, soy el intérprete oficial de la mesa directiva. La señorita Saída es la directora de servicios de prensa y de comunicaciones.
We also have Mr. Jose here, so if there's anyone who needs translation in Spanish, please raise your hand and we'll be more than happy to accommodate.
Para cualquier persona que desee escuchar la presentación de la reunión en español, tenemos aparatitos allá atrás para tales efectos. Sírvanse a pasar allá atrás y la señora Linda que está allá atrás les dará uno.
Our board meeting should begin at 7 o'clock or near 7 o'clock when the Board of Education comes out of closed session into open session. Because of that, we just ask if we could adhere to certain rules.
Nuestra reunión plena iniciará justo a las 7 o alrededor de las 7 cuando la mesa directiva salga de su sesión privada. Para ello les hemos de dar algunas reglas.
We just ask if you can silence your cell phones. You can definitely leave them on if you'd like, but if you can silence them only because we do have a live televised board meeting. There's a camera behind you right there in the white, and there's a white camera pointing at me right now. And once you silence your cell phones, you may take any pictures that you like. It is a public board meeting, so there's no privacy in this area.
Y bueno, lo normal, hay que silenciar los teléfonos. Como esto se está televisando en vivo, tenemos cámaras para tales efectos allá atrás. Entonces, silenciar los teléfonos, los pueden continuar usando si desean tomar fotografías de las presentaciones. Simplemente les pedimos que los silencien.
With all the celebrations this evening with Morgan Elementary School's performance and also our parents being honored tonight, we will be taking pictures for Facebook and Twitter. Those are public pictures, so you may share them if you wish.
Con la presentación de la primaria Morgan Elementary, con el reconocimiento a los padres voluntarios que se les reconocerá esta noche, y con las otras presentaciones que tendremos esta noche, estaremos tomando fotografías para sí mismo publicarlas en las plataformas sociales, pero pueden tomar ustedes fotos también.
We also ask that if you need to leave the board meeting at any time, because the cameras are focused on this area and we leave this door closed at all time, if you can use the back doors, whatever you're doing, staff is doing too, so no one has an opportunity to leave the door open.
También les pedimos que si se marchan antes de que terminen la reunión, como les repetimos, estamos grabando en vivo, les pedimos que se vayan por las puertas de ahí atrás. Esto va para los visitantes, lo mismo que para los empleados. Todo lo que tenga que hacer uno, lo tiene que hacer el otro.
Also, the bathrooms and the drinking fountain is on the hallway as well. And if there's any other questions, we are here, Jose's here, as well as me, Saida. Thank you so much. Gracias.
Y también, pues, los bebederos están allá en el pasillo, los baños al fondo a la derecha y a la izquierda en este caso. Y pues, para cualquier otra pregunta que pudiesen tener, cualquier duda, aquí tienen a la señorita Saída y a mi persona. Thank you so much.
Today on Bridging Futures, RUSD's Educational Safety and Security conducts anti-bullying assemblies.
I want you guys to be the example of how it is to treat each other with respect. And I got to point out one thing I want you guys to realize. As I'm looking around, this school is filled with diversity. And that means difference.
The Rialto Unified School District Safety Department is moving forward with launching its student intervention prevention programs throughout the district. One of the key components of that is our anti-bullying program. We realize that direct engagement is the most powerful tool in order for us to be able to make inroads with our students in terms of them making right decisions and dealing with the daily challenges that they face.
My opinion on the bullying is that I feel like people should know that their rights from wrongs. So this shows people that doing bad things can become like, you can have consequences, you have a lot of things that are bad. So doing good things will give you good things back.
Encouraging our students to make good choices, to be kind, to stand up, be the kind of bystander when they're seeing something that's wrong, to stand up and speak up and befriend kids who need extra support. So the work that the safety department is doing to support our students in our community, especially in the environment that we have today, that it's just important to be kind.
It's something, skills that they can learn of how to treat people, what to look out for, and something, of course, they can take on to high school. So when I heard about it, it was something definitely I felt our students needed to hear.
Today on Bridging Futures, we highlight Ms. Katrina Patterson, the Wellness Center counselor at Carter High School and the 2018 County Juvenile Justice Award winner.
The Juvenile Justice Award was given to Ms. Patterson, and it really couldn't have gone to a better person. She's fabulous. She works in our Wellness Center.
Hi, I'm Katrina Patterson. I am the counselor on special assignment, and I work here in the Wellness Center. Let's take a view of what goes on in the Wellness Center.
Although in schools we focus on academics, we really need to be looking at the whole child, and she is an essential component of that at our site.
Here in the Wellness Center, this is where students are allowed to come in to voice how they're feeling, to show emotion without being judgmental. The PBIS that we are doing here in Rialto is very much needed. Our students are suffering, they are emotionally damaged, their families are hardworking, and sometimes they just need that extra push.
So if we can change behavior for our youth at an early onset age, it lessens the likelihood of them actually reaching the juvenile justice system or the criminal justice system. With that, Ms. Patterson has been instrumental in helping our kids and our youth here on this campus.
GEMS, Girls Encourage and Motivate Self. This is the club that I am the advisor for. I started here at Carter about 13 years ago to help encourage girls. This is the frame that they take pictures with right before they graduate from our program. I was nominated by Julie Wilson, who is an extraordinary woman who believes in the community as well, and I'm so thankful that she believed enough in me to nominate me for this award. She sees my work in the community, she sees my work here at Carter High School, and I believe that's why she nominated me. When I heard about the award, I was so humbled and blessed to know that I am appreciated, the work that I do. People see it and people love what I do. I love what I do. I couldn't do it without the help of the students and my colleagues here, and I was just so overwhelmed with emotion.
Today on Bridging Futures, RUSD's Educational Safety and Security conducts anti-bullying assemblies.
I want you guys to be the example of how it is to treat each other with respect. And I gotta point out one thing I want you guys to realize. As I'm looking around, this school is filled with diversity. And that means difference.
The Rialto Unified School District Safety Department is moving forward with launching its student intervention prevention programs throughout the district. One of the key components of that is our anti-bullying program. We realize that direct engagement is the most powerful tool in order for us to be able to make inroads with our students in terms of them making right decisions and dealing with the daily challenges that they face.
My opinion on the bullying is that I feel like people should know that their rights from wrongs. So this shows people that doing bad things can become like, you can have consequences, you have a lot of things that are bad. So doing good things will give you good things back.
Encouraging our students to make good choices, to be kind, to stand up, be the kind of bystander when they're seeing something that's wrong, to stand up and speak up and befriend kids who need extra support. So the work that the safety department is doing to support our students in our community, especially in the environment that we have today, that it's just important to be kind.
It's something, skills that they can learn of how to treat people, what to look out for, and something, of course, they can take on to high school. So when I heard about it, it was something definitely I felt our students needed to hear.
Today on Bridging Futures, we highlight Ms. Katrina Patterson, the Wellness Center counselor at Carter High School and the 2018 County Juvenile Justice Award winner.
The Juvenile Justice Award was given to Ms. Patterson, and it really couldn't have gone to a better person. She's fabulous. She works in our Wellness Center.
Hi, I'm Katrina Patterson. I am the counselor on special assignment, and I work here in the Wellness Center. Let's take a view of what goes on in the Wellness Center.
Although in schools we focus on academics, we really need to be looking at the whole child, and she is an essential component of that at our site.
Here in the Wellness Center, this is where students are allowed to come in to voice how they're feeling, to show emotions without being judged.
That was it. That was good. Before we start, I want to let the board know we do have to go into closed session again.
Other than being, yeah, your retirement's all set.
Ms. Patterson is from not only helping our kids that are here on this campus.
This is the club that I started about 13 years ago to help encourage girls. This is the frame that they take pictures with right before they I was nominated by Julie Wilson. Extraordinary woman who believes in the community as well. And I'm so thankful that she believed enough in me to nominate me for this award. She's seen my work here.
We do have to go back into closed session afterwards. There's one more thing we have to be updated on. Okay, we're all here. Okay, motion and a second to adjourn closed session, please.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Vote by board members.
Aye.
Thank you. Time is 7:02. And tonight we have a full school board meeting, but first let's have Morgan Elementary School fifth grade student Anthony Garcia lead us in the pledge.
Where will Anthony go? Over. He's in the back.
I see some young and running this way. Sorry about that.
Today,
Put your right hand
Bridging
over your
Futures,
heart. Ready?
RUSD's Educational Safety and Security conducts anti-bullying assemblies.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Anthony. Now, led by Miss Cecilia Pinedo, Morgan Elementary School instructional assistant and Morgan's drumline coach mentor, we have a drumline performance by Anthony Garcia, Noah Pinedo, both 5th grade students, Moses Hernandez, 4th grade student, and Christopher Garcia, a 3rd grade student.
In order for us to be able to make inroads with our students, in terms of them making the right decisions, dealing with the daily
Awesome.
challenges.
My opinion on the bullying is that I feel like people should know that their rights from wrong.
Okay. When you're ready, take it away, scholars.
Things can become, you can have consequences.
Okay, thank you also to our parents, Principal Vara and Assistant Principal Bashaw, for attending and supporting our talented students. And as the students say, I agree 100%, go Mustangs. Okay, we go to Superintendent Avila for a report out of closed session.
Thank you, President Martinez. The Board of Education accepted the administrative appointment of Javier Castrejon, Energy Manager, Maintenance and Operations. The roll call vote was unanimous. The Board of Education accepted the request for a leave of absence for classified employee number 1773338, October 24th, 2018 through December 14th, 2018. The roll call vote was unanimous. The Board of Education denied the request for a leave of absence for classified employee number 1900338, October 23rd, 2018 through December 21st, 2018. The roll call vote was as follows. President Joseph Martinez, yes. Vice President Edgar Montes, abstain. Clerk Nancy O'Kelly, yes. Member Joseph Ayala, yes. And Member Dina Walker, abstained.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Avila. Okay. Before we adopt the agenda, there are two amendments. One is to J 3.1, and that is a modification of the date from 10/26 of 18 through 10/25 of 18. Again, October 26th changed to October 25th. And that would be for J 3.1. Secondly, on K8, change from my name as a representative to Edgar Montes, so he can go and represent us and vote. So that should be the only change to K8. I'm double checking right now.
I don't have a K8.
Yeah, I just saw that. Okay, there is no K8, but I saw it in the...
It's under the discussion.
Today on Bridging
action
Futures.
items.
Yes. So
RUSD's
Page 7, thank you.
Educational Safety and Security conducts
Okay,
anti-bullying
no narrative.
assemblies.
Yes, okay, so it will just be changing the name from Joseph W. Martinez to Edgar Montez, and everything else would remain the same. Okay, adoption of the agenda. Motion and a second, please.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Preferential vote by our student board member.
Aye.
Thank you. Vote by board members.
Aye.
Hold on.
Adoption of the agenda as amended.
Thank you. Adoption of the agenda as amended. You're right. Okay, vote by board members.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, going back to the student board member, so she can go ahead and introduce our high school DSAC students, please.
Up first, we have Alan Palma from Rialto High School.
Welcome.
Good evening, Honorable Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Avila, and viewing audience. My name is Alan Palma, and I'm a proud member of Rialto High School's Associated Student Body. October has truly been a busy month at Rialto High School. We celebrated our College and Career Readiness Day on October 10th. All freshmen and sophomores took the PSAT for no charge. Juniors took the PSAT or ASVAB, and seniors completed their FAFSA applications, as well as applied to their CSUs, community college, and learned about trade schools such as Universal Technical Institute. Our 6th annual Take Your Parent to School Day on October 11th was a success, and our fall honor roll celebration honored 800 knights who earned honor roll last semester. Greece was the word for Homecoming 2018's event last week. We had an amazing spirit week where both students and staff went all out, and pep rallies that included a staff performance of the hand jive and a dance last Saturday with almost 700 students in attendance. We would like to congratulate Janine Keys and Isaiah Carcamo for being chosen as the homecoming queen and king of Rialto High School, and to Chelsea Mejia and Victor Mendoza for being honored as the Kiwani Students of the Month. We would like to invite you to all of our upcoming events. The Collector's Curse, an interactive scary play which opens tonight at Rialto High School's theater. This Friday, our Avid is hosting their annual Harvest Festival from 4 to 8 p.m. All are welcome to check out tons of food and game booths, as well as the haunted house. Red Ribbon Week 2018 is led by our very own law enforcement classes. Activities on drug abuse awareness and prevention are our focus this week. We are also looking forward to our Powder Puff football game, which takes place on November 9th in the Knight Stadium under Friday Night Lights. Thank you for this opportunity for sharing all the great things happening in Rialto High School. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Well done.
Next up, we have Perry Leitner from Myler High School.
Welcome.
Good evening, Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Avila, students, parents, and viewing audience. My name is Perry Leitner, a proud student of Myler High School, and I am here to share some interesting things that are going on at our Myler High School campus. Did you know that 1 pint of blood can save 3 lives? Well, Myler High School has joined forces with the American Red Cross to help increase that number of potential lives that could be saved through a blood drive. So far, we have 75 students that have volunteered for the blood drive. This alone will give 150 pints of blood to those in need. As a California Green Level school, we are taking continued steps towards environmental stewardship. We have launched a new practice that will help reduce the food waste, what is called the share table. This new practice will allow for others to enjoy unwanted and unopened food items that would have otherwise gone to waste. Students place their unwanted and unopened food items in a designated area within the quad, making it available for other students to enjoy. We are paving the way for future college students on Thursday, October 25th, starting at 5 p.m. during our FAFSA night. Staff will diligently be working with prospective college-bound students and their families in obtaining some cash for college. Hot dogs and drinks will be provided for our families. You will catch our administrators, Mr. Luna and Ms. Quire, behind the grill. Superintendent Dr. Avila and board, you are welcome to attend. This past Thursday, students took a field trip to San Bernardino Valley College for a career technical education tour. The aeronautics tour caught my attention. We were treated to a flight simulator, and many left inspired to pursue the culinary arts program. Lastly, we anticipate 25 students or more to be returning to their home school for their junior and senior years. Go Myler. Thank you.
Go Mustangs. Well done.
Next up, we have Nyla Robertson from Carter High School.
Welcome.
I'm a little tall, I'm sorry. Good evening, Honorable Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Avila. My name is Nyla Robertson, ASB Vice President at Carter High School. Before we get started, I would like to thank you all for joining us on this lovely Wednesday night. Carter has had College Kickoff Week, which began October 8th and ended the 12th. We dedicated each day of the week to an event that influenced and helped students prepare for college. In addition to our College Day, Carter also hosted a UC application workshop for Carter seniors last Saturday, October 20th, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. We had a great turnout. On October 6th, Carter had the Havana Nights Homecoming. From photo booths to game trucks and delicious desserts, Carter High had a successful dance with over 550 kids that attended. The students were thrilled with laughter and fun as they danced the night away. Last week was our Kindness/Women's Appreciation Week, in which Carter students demonstrated kindness on campus and passed out notes, pins, roses, and flushed the school with random acts of kindness. We also added a touch of art to our girls' restrooms on campus with messages of hope and love. This week, Carter celebrated our Red Ribbon Week. Our theme was Disney and Pixar. Today we had a special Red Ribbon lunchtime activity that was fun and educational. Our Wellness Center is doing great things for the kids. During the month of September, 144 students were seen in the Wellness Center. 67 of them were seen in order to improve social emotional skills. And of those 67, 50 were referred by the students themselves. Students referred to the Wellness Center for behavioral reasons were generally referred by admin, 20 of the 23 total, and the 54 students that participated in groups were referred mostly by admin and counselors. We currently have over 90 parents participating in the PIQE program geared to educating parents on the educational system and how they can help their child succeed. This year, the PQIE sessions offer a STEM component. Parents will graduate this year on November 29th. Our MESA program took a trip to visit the USC campus. They were also recently recognized for their great work in math and engineering through UCR. Last week, students Eric Valverde and Sienna Gideon were honored by Kiwanis Club of East Rialto as Students of the Month. Our drama department is producing a play called 12 Angry Jurors, which is our fall play that opens in 2 weeks. Last but not least, please feel free to visit our Carter website to purchase our new app that includes discounts to over 35 local businesses. Thank you, Board of Education, Dr. Avila, and our viewing audience. Good evening.
Question.
Have a good night.
I noticed Lion TV. Tell the public about it, please.
Lion TV?
The YouTube channel?
Oh, yes. Okay, so basically Line TV News is every week we have daily bulletins. So it just updates the school and our campuses and everyone that on social media about what we're doing around campus. The same information that is given in the announcements in the morning is also given in the videos. So it's basically students come together with Mr. Fowler, who's also our media and productions teacher. They create videos to post, and you watch them, and it updates you about information on campus and things like that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well done.
Next up, we have Cesar Ramos from Eisenhower High School.
Welcome.
Good evening, Honorable Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Avila, and viewing audience. My name is Cesar Ramos, and I serve proudly as the current ASB president at Eisenhower High School. I am excited to report that our football team is 9-0. Way to go, Eagles. The dedication and commitment Coach Brown and his staff have role modeled for our team has definitely paid off. Our team hosts their last game of regular season tomorrow night at Arroyo Valley. We would like to extend our thanks to all of the district personnel who visited our Dads Night before our game against Rialto. We celebrated 48 dads during our tearful and appreciative presentations hosted by the students of Eisenhower. Our counseling department, along with our internship and AVID programs, hosted our college week during the beginning of this month. Their hard work will definitely benefit the future of our seniors. Our college fair was amazing thanks to Mrs. Ibrahimi. Our teachers hosted our college Spiel Day, where they share their unique college experiences with every student. Thanks to our counselors, our Cash for College night was the largest EHS has ever seen and has benefited and will benefit EHS seniors by offering help with financial documents important for college. College Application Day was successful thanks to Ms. Stevenson and Ms. Kelly, with 280 of our 520 seniors applying to a 4-year university. We are also very proud to recognize our chosen male student of the month, Cesar Ramos, who happens to be me. So hi.
Congratulations.
And the female student of the month, Risa Sanchez. Thank you. We would like to thank the Kiwanis Club for recognizing and for making this experience possible for both of our students. They have both done an outstanding job during this past month and throughout their high school experience by demonstrating what it's like to be an exemplary Eagle. Our Link Crew class hosted our Trunk or Treat this past Tuesday, in which our freshman class received a map of the school and were allowed to walk around campus during lunch with their Link Crew leaders while picking up candy from tree trunks that our leaders made. They will also be hosting our Halloween bash dance this Friday after our fall festival, in which they are encouraging freshmen to attend by providing free entrance and a small charge for the rest of our Eagles. Currently, our school is gearing up for our annual fall festival. We have 28 clubs participating this year by hosting booths with games, prizes, and food. We are truly thankful to all the club advisors who are helping coordinate this awesome event. We are proud to announce the return of the EHS Maze, named the Masters of Horror by the City of Rialto Community Service Department. We will be returning to host the Maze at the City of Rialto annual Hijinks event. We encourage you all to join us this Wednesday at the Rialto Police Station. Eisenhower High School is currently transitioning to the season of service. We have 20 staff members who have volunteered to help us raise money during the No Shave November campaign. Our goal is to raise $8,000 to buy a brand new pair of shoes for every student at one of our USD elementary schools. During the season of service, we will also be hosting a jean drive for the city, a blanket drive for the homeless, Thanksgiving basket drive for our families in need at EHS, and a toy drive for Loma Linda Hospital. I am thrilled to report our progress to you. We wish you all well and hope to see you at our events. Thank you.
Well done. Okay. Is that item 3, Ms. Joffrey? Yes, it is. Okay. That was next anyway.
No.
Okay. We will continue with the Parent Institute Planning Committee recognition.
What about number 2? We'll go back.
We were going to go back.
Oh, okay.
The suggestion was to try and get the parents home.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, they've got homework. Okay. Ms. Carol Michenko? Mahachko.
I know. I've had it my whole life, so don't worry. You're not the first.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Avila. It's my pleasure that you have taken the time to actually recognize some of our parent volunteers that provided such great guidance for our most recent Parent Summit, October 6th. I appreciate all the kind words that you shared at the last board meeting. And it was my first experience, so I really got to experience what the summit was. I'd heard all these different stories about it, and honestly, it did take quite a village, and everyone really came in and pitched in, including staff, the schools, but really, most importantly, the parents. It was important early on to get input from our parents, especially to make sure that this summit met their needs. So I started with the core committee that had been involved in giving input in the parent center itself, and they kind of just morphed, and every few weeks we met. I would bring to them what the latest actions and ideas are, and they would definitely give us feedback to help to refine, and as we got closer, they rolled up their sleeves and helped us with whatever task needed to happen. So, at this time, I would, again, thank you for taking time to present some recognition to them and to honor their time. Thank you.
Thank you. And this time we'll ask Mr. Montez and Ms. Walker to recognize the parents. Ms. Mihachko, if you'd like to join board members.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Buenas noches. Earlier this month, on October 6th, the Rialto Unified School District held its 10th annual Parent Summit at Carter High School, the same school which began the summit a decade ago. Under the leadership of the late Mr. Curtis T. Winton of the Curtis T. Winton Parent Institute, Mr. Winton, as many know, began this parental district summit concept with the help of the Board of Education and the support of numerous staff and the parent volunteers, some of which will be honored tonight. As in the years past, the school's rally garnered much enthusiasm, beginning with Bemis Elementary School and ending with the host site, Carter High School. Educators and motivational speakers, Mr. Danny and David Diaz, the original and formerly nationally ranked cross-country runners who inspired the Disney movie McFarlane USA, shared messages of inspiration for all who were then present in the gym. And the rest of the morning and early afternoon at the summit were filled with parent and extended family members learning and exploring community resources and many opportunities to connect and celebrate individual and school success. For this summit, as with all of those in the past, many hands came together to orchestrate this great work and majestic event that attracts about 2,000 attendees. Mrs. Carol Mihachko, did I say that right? Agent of Special Programs with coordinator of the summit said, and I'll let her read it.
Without the handprints of our parent volunteers before, during, and after this event, we would have not had the success we've experienced this year. As my first year, I was humbled how dedicated our parent volunteers were to assist with this event.
It's got you quoted as more right there.
Okay. I'll just finish. Our parents and community members continued to provide valuable feedback and guidance until the day of the summit, and it was all very well appreciated.
Tonight, we also want to thank Ms. Mihachko and Mrs. Anna Gonzalez, District Parent Summit Assistant. We know that later on, is she here tonight? She's not here. Okay, she wasn't able to make it. We know that later on in the school year, these parent center leaders intend to honor all parent volunteers from our school sites, but tonight, we'll be honoring individuals who worked diligently to make this event a success. For those who attended, when I call your names, please come up. We will take 3 sets of pictures with 5 parent volunteers in each picture. Ms. Walker, do you want to call them up?
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Arita August. Yolanda Baez. Elvias Castanon. Rafael Chavarria.
Fuentes. Gina Heyman. Myrna Ruiz. The first five?
Yes, the first five.
Okay.
Mr. Montes, can we have you right here? Right here with them, with those two. They'll come out better. There you go. There you go. Those are good. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Our next set of parent volunteers, we'll start off with, who's that? Maria Sandoval. Gabriela Solis. Sylvia Vargas. Okay, so the rest of the parents are not were not able to be here tonight, but we're still going to call their names. Patricia Varillo. Luvia Nava. Carla Escobar. And Elizabeth Moreno. Let's give all our parents a big hand.
And the rest of the recognitions with the parents that were unable to attend tonight, they will be gotten to them, our superintendent's office. Okay, we are moving back to number 2 in presentation. Student population projections by residents, school years 2017 through 2024. Presentation by Davis Demographics. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, board members and superintendent. My name is Isa Hoya from Davis Demographics and Planning. I'm here tonight to present to you our findings on the 7-year resident student projections. Just to give you a little heads up here, these are resident student population projections based on fall 2017 student counts. And I'll be going through the slides over the next couple of minutes, and for the sake of time, I'll just go through the slides and then I'll have a question and answer session towards the end of the presentation.
Thank you.
Quick.
Okay, slideshow. Right there. From beginning. All the way left. All the way left. From beginning. There we go.
All right. Thank you. We greatly appreciate that.
No problem. You have your clicker?
Okay, so as I previously mentioned, these are resident student population projections from fall school years, fall 2017 through fall 2024. Just give you an overall scope of work of what we accomplished here. All of our data or study is geographically based, so we use GIS to conduct this analysis. Therefore, we set up GIS layers, including mapping 4 years of student data, acquired latest parcel and street data from the county department, researched current and new future housing, had multiple meetings and conference calls with city planning officials and district staff, incorporated new residential development into the projections, calculated specific factors within the Rialto Unified School District boundaries, such as birth data and mobility, which I'll be explaining further more in detail as we move along. And finally, we calculated the 7-year student forecast based on current attendance area boundaries. This is just a brief example of what GIS looks like, and those dots you see there are 4 years of student data mapped on within your district. Once we mapped this information, we calculated elementary, middle, and high school attendance area matrices, which identify transfer patterns occurring within your elementary attendance areas and middle and high school attendance areas to identify how many students are actually attending your schools, the assigned schools, versus those that are not attending their assigned schools. Just to go over the 7-year projection methodology, we start off by collecting birth data summarized by zip code, which is provided by the California Department of Health Statistics. We also use the 4 years of student data to calculate mobility factors. We've broken up your district into about 327 neighborhood study areas, and we calculated mobility factors which aim to identify how many students are the in and out migration patterns as different class cohorts graduate on through the grades. We also use the student yield factors provided by the school district to apply to the planned residential development or any potential development that may get built within your district boundary. This is just a quick overview of what the zip code data or the birth data looks like. We used fall 2017 kindergarten or fall 2017 students as our base projection year. Therefore, we assume that the fall 2017 kindergarten class was born 5 years prior, so we used 2012 kindergarten data and compared it to the consecutive years to come up with an incoming kindergarten class. This is what the figures look like for the planned residential development. After doing our research, we've come up with a figure of 1,317 single-family detached homes that are projected to get built and occupied within the next 7 years. 270 multifamily attached units, which these represent condominiums and townhomes. 59 apartment rental units. Total number of units total 1,646, and we were able to identify all these unit counts by doing site visits at all active residential projects throughout the district. We also spoke with the sales reps at each of these offices, and we had discussions with city planners and county and district staff to summarize all these numbers and make sure we were all on board with these numbers. This is a general map of what the development looks like relative to your district boundary. North of the 210, you see the Lytle Creek development, which is the largest project. It actually has a 20 to 30 year build out. Only a certain percentage of it will get built in the next 7 years. Then you see the Renaissance project just south of the 210. That's the second largest master plan community that is scheduled to get started within the next 7 years. And then you see south of Merrill Avenue, you see scattered smaller projects that are occurring. Once we compiled this data and summarized it by study area, we were able to identify that an average of 200 to 300 homes are going to be built and occupied over the next 7 years. These are just the student yield factors provided by the district. These factors are applied to the planned residential development to identify how many students are going to be generated. just to give you a brief overview of how the mobility factors work, again, this aims to identify an in and out migration pattern, seeing whether there's a negative or positive out migration pattern as students graduate from grade to grade or class cohorts graduate from grade to grade. We analyzed this at the neighborhood study area level and summarized it by elementary attendance area. Just give you a quick example here. The Bemis Elementary K-1 mobility of 1.08 basically means that out of 8,100 kids graduating from K to first grade, these are resident students graduating from K to first grade, there's a gain of 8 students per every 100 students that live in that area. And that's how you would read these numbers consecutively. This is just a quick example of the projections by study area. Just a graphic example. I'll get into the numbers here shortly. Once we calculated the study area's projections, we summarized these and added these up to generate study area or projections by elementary, middle, and high school boundaries. These are just the overall numbers of what your projections look like. I'll get more into specific numbers in the next slide, but I just want to point out to you here that, I'm sorry. Okay. So I just want to point out to you that the district is expected to experience a slight gradual decline over the next 7 years, which is not too significant at all. The main reason for the decline or the slight decline is this larger class size bubble that exists here within the higher elementary grades and the middle school grades. These grade class sizes are hopefully expected to graduate on through high school and hopefully college. As these graduate out, you'll notice there's smaller class sizes in the early elementary grades. However, you will notice in the next slide that there is growth in the elementary grades because of positive in-migration pattern occurring as represented by the mobility factors. So this positive in-migration pattern is causing slight growth here, but it's not enough growth to suffice or replace these larger class sizes here. Additionally, you do have slight development happening, which is also accountable for the growth, but it's mostly for the elementary grades is this positive in-migration pattern. Here is the overall summary of what the totals consist of. The net growth for the TK5 enrollment is expected to grow by 110.3 students, 110 if we round this, over the next 7 years by fall 2024, with a 1%, which represents a 1% increase. At the 6-8 level, the sixth grade students are expected to grow by 353, with a represented by a 5.8 net decline. So this is a decline. I'm sorry. This is expected to decline by 353. The high schoolers, the high school student population is going to remain stagnant or flat at with a slight decline of 22 students, which is practically nothing. This represents a decline of 0.3%. The overall TK12 enrollment is expected to decline by 265 students, which is a negative 1% decline. Your total here, I'm sorry. So this is your total here in enrollment, 25,316 based off of fall 2017, and your decline here is 2550. Okay, just to move forward now. This is the net decline and net increases. Green numbers represent net growth, red numbers represent net decline. And these are just numbers, and you'll notice that there's green and reds mixed all over the district, but you'll notice that Eubanks and Trapp have the largest net growth at 155 and 119 growth of students respectively. Boyd Elementary has the largest net decline in student population over the next 7 years of 96.9, and overall net growth of 110 for the TK5 population over the next 7 years. The middle schools also have both increases and net decreases. Kolb is expected to experience the largest net increase, 115.9. Jehu is expected to experience the largest decrease, 206. A total of a net decrease of 353 is expected for the middle school population. Moving on to the high school, there's a total net decline of 22 students expected for the next 7 years. Rialto is expected to experience the largest growth, while Eisenhower is expected to experience the largest decline. Just give you an overall summary, there may be as many as 1,646 mixed units built over the next 7 years. The district will be able to absorb growth from areas such as Trapp and Eubanks, but realignments are recommended just to try to balance out the enrollment at each of these schools. District will be able to absorb growth from Kolb and Rialto High School, which have the largest projected growth at the middle school and high school levels. Positive in-migration patterns, as I mentioned earlier, are occurring amongst the elementary grades. Negative out-migration pattern is occurring when students transition from elementary to junior high school. Negative out-migration pattern is occurring within the high school grades, and projected growth and declines in different areas, as you saw in that in the graphics in the previous 3 slides, calls for better balance in enrollment amongst the attendance areas, especially for the elementary attendance areas. And now for the question and answer session, if you guys have any questions. I greatly appreciate this time you've given me.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions? Okay, I do have one. You suggested realignment, which is, for the public is basically redoing the boundaries.
Yeah.
What year would you recommend that?
Anytime within the next 7 years, definitely by fall 2024, but there's already schools, especially existing within the elementary attendance areas, which are, there's different schools that look like they're unbalanced or they're more at capacity, and there's some that are lower capacity. And to make more efficient use of your facilities, I think the sooner the better. Okay. I would think, just to prep for the future, the next 7 years.
Okay, because we had started, then we realized that the numbers were not accurate. So we've put that off. So as soon as possible would be one, and then probably later again. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, as soon as possible for sure. Yeah.
Well, we need one now.
Yeah.
With the numbers we have now, these projections are predictions, pretty well stated predictions, but they're not guaranteed. So I think we should, since we have some elementary schools that have almost 1,000 students, schools that were built for 400 or 500 students, we definitely need a realignment now, and then depending on whether the growth does grow or not, then, look at it down the road.
Yeah, I agree. You definitely need it now, and as you wait longer, it'll just get worse.
Out of all this, do you see any need to build schools?
I don't see in the near future any need to build schools. Not at the moment. Maybe facility expansion at certain sites are recommended, but that is what I foresee here.
Okay. Any other questions?
I had a question. So
Ms. Walker?
Just in the calculation on how you came up with capacity at each school, is that capacity of meaning what's standing now, meaning seats available based on occupancy of a given space?
Yeah, it's a figure that it's an official figure based on, this is a calculated figure based on the Office of Public School Funding figure that the district went ahead and calculated.
Okay, so the formula's from the Office of School Funding figure, but not necessarily what the physical capacity of a school is.
Not quite.
There you go. Okay.
Dr. Avila, did you have questions? Okay. Seeing nothing else, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we will continue with our next presentation, which is Career Technical Education, presented by Dr. Edward D'Souza, Lead Academic Agent, Math, Science, College and Career Pathways, and Juanita Chan, my math's not working again, Coordinator of STEM and related college career pathways.
Good evening, Mr. Martinez, Board President, distinguished board members, Dr. Avila. As you said, Mr. Martinez, the presentation is on career technical education, and we do, the length of this presentation will be approximately 5 minutes. Just for protocol, we will have question and answer at the end, and as you've already introduced, the lead agent for this is Dr. Ed D'Souza, overseeing math, science, and college career pathways, and his counterpart, Ms. Juanita Chan, coordinator, STEM and related college and career pathways. So I turn it over to you.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Avila and Board President Martinez. We are here today. We have a short time to do a long presentation, so we gave you the detailed notes, and with not much ado, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Chan.
All right, good evening. So I'm gonna be going like the wind, so please save those questions, and you can talk to either myself or Dr. D'Souza if you have more questions. Okay. So as we start thinking about career technical education, what we're really thinking about is how it's shifted a little bit. And so as we've shifted from No Child Left Behind to ESSA, the Every Student Succeeds Act, we're really thinking about how maybe our language might need to shift from A to G to college and career readiness indicators. So that federal legislation is translated by the California Department of Education, and it really thinks about college and career readiness in a multitude of ways. One in particular indicator that we're going to focus on for the remainder of this time is the college and career indicator. So when we're thinking about the college and career indicator, the California Department of Education has defined it with multiple measures. So one of those measures is that recognition that in order for a student to be considered college and career ready, they have to have earned their high school diploma, completed a CTE program, and had standards met on their SBAC ELA +1. Currently, we don't have that +1 test. That +1 test is met right now by students getting at least a 2 on their other tests, so SBAC math, for example. But in the future, we're thinking that +1 is going to be their NGSS science assessment. Another option is that, okay, they've done that, high school diploma, college CTE pathway completion, and then standards met on SBAC math +1. That same piece. Or high school diploma, completion of CTE pathway, and 1 dual enrollment course. So that dual enrollment course is the opportunity for students to earn college credit while they're in high school, and they have to pass that course with a C or better. For the remaining measures, you're going to see it like that, but just know that these are stacking blocks going from left to right, okay? So that's measure A. It also gives you the option of measure B, high school diploma plus standards met and ELA and math. High school diploma plus 2 semesters of a dual enrollment class or college course credit while in high school with a C or better. Or high school diploma plus 2 passing AP examinations. There's more, but wait. So measure E says that they could also be college and career ready if they have got that high school diploma plus, here's where we see that A through G piece, plus they also have to be either a CTE pathway completer, pass 1 AP exam, or get standards met on SBAC ELA +1, math +1, or 1 dual enrollment course. So they're offering lots of options for students to be college and career ready, but we're going to highlight the ones tonight that explicitly talk about our CTE programs. So what's the benefit for CTE outside of this idea of just the measures? Well, CTE actually offers our students lots of opportunities to develop their own leadership skills, to really bring that authentic learning and instruction into the classroom, to have them explore careers, develop industry partnerships, and really think about their high school experience in a coherent way. And of course, the most important one is recognizing that millennials will probably have an average of 15 careers in their working lifetime. So it's really important for them to not only have these hard skills, but also have this flexibility that soft skills allow. As we're moving forward, you're going to hear a lot about CTE completers. When we say CTE completers, what that means is that this student has met a CTE concentration sequence. Our sequences in Rialto USD, most of them are 2 years long. There's a concentrator course, and then there's a capstone course. In looking at those concentrator and capstone courses, that is a change from where we've been in the past. In the past, what we've seen is that we have offered ROP courses. Those ROP courses were just like regular elective courses, although they did prepare them for some careers. The shift now and why we're focusing on CTE is that these CTE pathways have to lead somewhere. They either have to lead to an industry certification, to college, or directly into a high-wage, high-demand career. So where are we now in this transition? Well, we have clearly articulated how many A through G CTE pathways we've offered. Our CTE teachers have been super professional. They have gone through their classes. They've aligned them so that they're A through GG level level elective classes. That's over 30 courses, and what we've articulated is about 15 separate pathways, with some pathways in there where the pathway title is the same, but there's some variations, like in the patient care pathway. We offer 3 different ones. As we're thinking about that, what we also have to think about is CalPADS, which is something that nobody ever wants to think about. Why do we even care about CalPADS? Well, if you're looking at all the other California dashboard indicators, what you're going to see is when you click on that indicator, you're going to get a 5x5 grid. Now, in CTE, we currently don't have that 5x5 grid, but that's because the state recognized that the reliability of those CalPADS numbers was not reliable. But what the projection is that we're the only ones that don't have that, even though there's an indicator. And so as we're moving forward and that information becomes more reliable, that we will attain a 5x5 grid, so we can get an accurate count of how many students are actually completing those pathways. So what are we trying to make sure that our pathways do? Well, we're trying to make sure that our pathways respond to economic demand. And so we need data in order to do this. When we're thinking about college and career, we're really shifting our mindset from thinking college to college, which is really thinking about careers that require somebody to go to college in order to have that career, to college and career. So really thinking about post-secondary opportunities for students that might not require a 4-year. It might allow for that, but not require it. So this is a portal called the Center for Excellence, and in this portal they have projections for the next few years. I know it says here to 2019, but it actually goes farther beyond that to like 2026, where they've identified some key career opportunities at the top, and explicitly how many jobs that will be available in that particular area. When we're looking at that, I'm going to just bring your eyes down to the graph right below it. Those total jobs up here add up to about this many jobs in our particular region, so it's very region specific. Our region is Inland Empire and the Desert region. If you're looking at this graph, the only other thing that you really need to look at is this orange space down here. The orange space is how many people are going to have the skills to fill those careers. What you see, this whole lined area, is the gap. And that's what we're trying to fill, particularly right now. So when we're looking at that on a larger scale, we want to do what matters for jobs and for the economy, and that means that the Inland Empire has identified 6 priority sectors. So our priority sectors for our area specifically are advanced manufacturing, advanced transportation and logistics, business and entrepreneurship, energy, construction and utilities, health, and information communication technologies. When we're looking at these and we're looking at our staffing, what that means is we currently have 23 highly qualified full-time CTE teachers and 4 additional teachers that are pursuing CTE credentials. As we're thinking about our 1 to 3 year projections, we project that at least 8 of these either have identified in themselves that there's a skills gap in between the skills that we're going to need, or that they're projected that they're going to retire during that period of time. And so as we're thinking of filling those positions, we want to recruit people that have skills explicitly in the advanced manufacturing area, in that advanced logistics and business area, and we want to develop the capacity of at least this number of teachers in energy, construction and utilities, health, and information communication technologies. The reason why the difference there is because we are not luring these people away with our CTE salary. We need to build that up from the inside, and we have teachers that have skills in those particular areas. We also are thinking about how we can maximize our college course credit and our certification that students can actually attain in high school. We currently offer 3 college articulated courses with Valley College, 3 concurrent enrollment courses that we offer, and then 4 certifications. And you can look in the notes section of your packet to see what those are. In our 1 to 3 projection, we would like to have at least 1 articulated course for every single one of our pathways, additional concurrent enrollment courses, and as you can see, lots and lots more certifications where possible. Last year, what our teachers did, what all of our teachers did, was they did a self-evaluation, and this is a part of our normal 11 elements of highly effective CTE class programs, and we identified some focus areas. So one of those focus areas was career exploration and guidance. Our thought process was simple. We wanted to increase the number of completers, and so we thought that we could do that by increasing the awareness and creating 4-year plans in the 8th grade with CTE in mind. So as we're doing that, last year a lot of you came to our 5th grade RISE Youth Experience event. We're doing that again, and we're also expanding it to the 8th grade, and we're calling it 8th grade Career Cruisin', and so the dates are there for your convenience. Another area that we said is that we really wanted our students to be very excited about the courses that we were offering, and how do we garner more excitement than by having a career technical student organization. There are currently 6 that are recognized by the state of California. We offer 2 at multiple schools. The 2 that we offer are HOSA, which are Health Occupations, and FCCLA, which stands for Family and Career and Community Leaders of America. And we have very competitive programs because they do competitions, etc. We also have additional programs that aren't recognized by the state, but we want to transition those to ones that are recognized to the state by the state. So another example would be our Police Explorers. We also have had in our possession for a while now a facility that was not being effectively utilized, and so we're trying to utilize that space. That is the engineering building at the Chavez Huerta Center, and we are planning on using that building for a STEM center and a teacher learning student exploration center, where students will actually come and do field trips, and teachers can come for professional development. We want to focus on CTE promotion, outreach, and communication, and in that outreach communication piece, that really involves branding those CTE pathways at the schools with things like school banners, like the ones, like an example here from Carter High School. Additionally, there's some informational pamphlets. Those informational pamphlets, you have an example of those inside of your packets, as well as posters so that the students can continue to think about what career options they have as long as they stay focused in those CTE classes. We want to make sure that we're responding to economic demands, and so we've got 3 to 4 courses that have really done that this past year. One of them is our Leader SSP, which is our Specialized Secondary Programs grant. We're offering 2 courses at Rialto High School, Business in the 21st Century and Maximizing Business Profits. Those classes are explicitly focused on business management, so business and entrepreneurship in particular, and then Maximizing Business Profits is logistics and transportation. As you know, there's a big hub here. We're offering cybersecurity at Eisenhower High School, and green residential and commercial construction at Carter High School. Dr. Avila encouraged us, as we're thinking about local industry demands, how much more local can you be than actually Rialto USD? And so when we're thinking about Rialto USD, we recognize that there's going to be a teacher shortage as well. And so we want to encourage the students that are currently taking those education CTE courses to stick with it, because what the data says is that over 60% of the teachers that you have in an area actually teach within 20 miles of where they went to high school, which means that our future teachers of Rialto USD are probably sitting in our classrooms. And so we want to encourage them to continue moving forward in that path of education, because we know that's so powerful. When we're thinking about that, we've got some strategies in order to think about how to continue students in that path. And one of them is to be able to encourage them by providing them with some work readiness and work experience while they're actually in high school. So why recruit those high school students? We currently have a child development class that we think we can focus on pre-K to grade 2, really future teachers there. And at Eisenhower, we have an intermediate education program where we're hoping we can focus those students on grade 3 through 12 and STEM, because those are our high needs areas, so future math teachers and future science teachers. We think that's going to broaden the tent, increase the diversity in Rialto USD teaching staff, including biliterate teachers, and also we want to give the students a perspective that they can lead without leaving. We want them to go conquer the world, come back, and give back to the community. Okay, so thinking about that, how do we build that awareness campaign? So we definitely have those high-functioning CTSOs already in place. The courses are already articulated, at least one is already articulated with Valley College. We want to be able to offer them a work readiness course during the summer of this school year, so that we can include them in a work experience course where the students would be able to be student avid tutors while they're in school. As they matriculate up to a 2 or 4 year university. Those 2-year university pieces, if they continue with us as an avid tutor, we want to provide them priority hiring so that the money that they make here can offset the costs of actually going to school. In addition, we're looking for additional funding sources that go along with providing them that 2 to 4 years without any cost out of pocket for those particular students. Once they finish 90 credits at the college and pass the CBEST test, we want them to have priority hiring as substitute teachers, and then upon graduation have priority hiring as actual teachers, real live grown-up teachers. It's amazing. The other initiative that we really want to focus on is this Cyber Rialto initiative. And as we were looking at Cyber Rialto, we had a lot of questions for ourselves. Did we want to focus on cybersecurity, information security? Did we want to focus on computer networking? Or did we want to focus on a specific language? And what we came up with was, as we were thinking about this, we decided that we really wanted to focus on breadth instead of depth in one particular area, because that maximizes student exposure. And when you maximize student exposure, you maximize student choice. So as we're thinking about that, we went forward with cybersecurity. As we're looking at those cybersecurity numbers, this graphic is from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. What we noted was that regular computer occupations in other areas like networking, etc., the job growth for that is projected to be at about 13%, whereas information security analysts, the job growth is expected to be about 28%, which is more than double what that is. So we think we made a good choice there. We also have a clear K-12 vision for how things are progressing. We want to talk about integrated computer science as well as designated computer science, and this is really looking at that designated computer science arm. But in the integrated computer science, we want to highlight that at elementary school, we're really focusing on hands-on makerspaces, Rube Goldberg, Hour of Code, Code.org, Intro to GIS, Lego robotics, Ozobots, and squishy circuits. These are all things that we're currently already doing at those elementary school levels. And then at middle school, we want to beef it up with Lego robotics. We want them to use Scratch, Oracle. We're doing Intro to GIS, Navis software suites, Intro to VEX, Hour of Code, and Code.org. And then at the high school, of course, some of that integrated time goes into VEX robotics, but some of that designated time at that point goes into exploring computer science, AP computer science principles, which focuses on binary, AP computer science A, cybersecurity, and of course, just for fun, the North American Esports Federation, and of course, MasterCam. We want to increase the clubs like esports. We've got a program called Tiger Techs at Rialto Middle School that's very much like Generation Yes. Girls That Code, Black Girls Code. We want to incorporate all of those pieces and increase our partnerships with Cyber SB, which is the larger San Bernardino County initiative, and further articulation with Valley College. As we're thinking about that, and this is my very last slide, we have to think about how to grow our cyber teaching talent, because our teachers, while we might have some that have an interest in this area, if they had expertise in this area, they would probably be in this area because they can make a lot more money in this area, but they want to give back. You know, it's a calling, teaching is. So we want to incentivize that, to provide them with that vision so that we can motivate them to keep those efforts going.
You can breathe now.
The Best Presenter Award goes to?
Thank you very much. That was excellent. Board, do you have questions?
I just have one question on the pathways. Have you yet begun to actually identify partners in the industry specifically for the cyber and the manufacturing, because that's here and right now? Have you been doing that?
Yes, so we've actively been courting those partnerships. There are San Bernardino County and those industry, they're called industry sector navigators. So there's industry sector navigators that also help with that work. But in that process, we've also been reaching out to other partners. For example, Mayor Warren in Fontana has a manufacturing day where she brings in all the local manufacturers. So we've been thinking about things like that as well. Yes. So yes.
We also reaching out to Valley College for their work experience, and once students do that, then they're open to any type of internships at different places.
Okay. Ms. O'Kelly.
Do the kids get out of high school and do they have an automatic feed into classes at the junior college level that will help them get a certificate or whatever they may not be able to get in high school?
So that's definitely what we're working on. So those articulated classes, that's the purpose of those articulated classes. If we've got a class that's articulated, then that means that the student is already enrolled in Valley, and so upon graduation, it's a lot easier for them to follow through. So we don't get that gap, because what sometimes happens is this fall off. The kids have a projection that they're going to go to school, and then during the summer, between their senior year and actually like right when they're 19, they just kind of drop off. So it's getting over that hurdle. Yes.
Right. Well, I bring that up because in general, kids that go through that phase of, I want to take some time off and relax, don't ever pick back up and go finish school. So we want to get them there right away.
Just to let you know, Joseph Williams announced lately that Valley College is getting $10 million and one of the first places, so we want to stand in line to get that money.
Right.
Excellent. Okay, you're not off the hook yet. I know that all my emails and prodding has not gone to deaf ears. Thank you. This is great information, but I cannot express to the public, especially the youth, that this is the example of your future. You have to consider lifelong learning, or else you have to learn the phrase, do you want fries with that order? So it's a cold, harsh reality that they are going to face. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we go into public comments. Public comments from the floor. This time, any person wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes. Dr. Avila?
Russell Silva.
Good evening, board
Welcome.
members, administration, viewing audience. I really only have one thing to say today, and that is that at the top of the 8th inning, it is 4-2 Boston. So the Dodgers have got to pick it up. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thanks for the update.
All right.
Mirna Ruiz.
I used to live near Boston, so it's okay with me.
Guess I'm that short, I didn't realize that. Good evening, board members.
Welcome.
Dr. Avila, superintendent, and viewing audience, and present audience, of course. I'm here tonight to thank, once again, represent PTA, Rialto Council of PTAs. I want to thank Mr. KB, Bruce Kelly, lead innovation agent, and also Carol Mahashko, and Chief Gordon Larry, for attending our PTA meeting that we had this past week. It was great. We had approximately 40 parents representing the 15 different schools that we have, and we had great conversations. We brought concerns, and they're being addressed, and I just wanted, like I said, I appreciate the teamwork that we're doing and the partnership that we're finally having with the district. And also, I want to give special thanks also because now we're going to be having safety and security present at every of our meetings. So, which is something that, parents are always concerned with, safety and security and transportation and all of that during our meetings. And so now that there's somebody's going to be there, definitely to be able to answer our questions and concerns that we may have. So thank you. With that being said, I also wanted to say thank you for the recognition. As a parent, I love what I do. I don't do it to get recognized, but I do appreciate it. I do it from the heart. And by saying that, I also think that the presentation that was given is awesome. I see us moving forward and doing great things. But I do want to remind you, which is something that you know very well, that it's in my heart, our kids in special ed. Please don't forget about them. Right now we have to make sure that we prepare them as they're exiting the school district. We want to make sure that those kids are also prepared, and that they're also participate on anything that any other student is doing, any programs, STEM. We have autistic kids that are super, like high functioning, and STEM is like they're like on top. So definitely those kids, we want to make sure that they get a little bit of what it is that the other kids are going to get. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's all we have.
Okay. Public comments on agenda items. Any person wishing to speak on any item on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes. Dr. Avila?
We have none.
Okay. Comments from association, executive board members, Rialto Education Association. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Board and Dr. Avila. My name is Lisa Lindberg, President of the Rialto Education Association. Tonight we had our rep council meeting, and the Werner reps approached me after the meeting and expressed a concern from their staff. They have recently lost their principal, and they do not have a replacement principal at this point. They said they do have the AP acting as the interim, but they felt that it was very important that they get an actual principal in place as soon as possible. They are our largest elementary school in the district. They feel they are very high needs. They have quite a few special education classes there, which require a lot of IEP meetings, just a lot of administrative tasks that need to be addressed. And they asked that I bring this to the attention to the powers that be, and I promised them I would. So that's why I'm here to talk about that. And then I would also like to say that I'm urging you very strongly to vote yes on the SERP. I started my site visits again last week since I was finished with my month-long jury duty. I was back visiting the site. So, and this week has been particularly pleasant to be able to share the news of the SERP. I actually had a teacher dance in one of the staff rooms, so that was exciting. And I'd like to thank Mr. Muhammad Islam for pulling that together. I think he's the new Santa Claus of our USD. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, California School Employees Association. Welcome.
Good evening, President Martinez, Board, Dr. Avila. At the last school board meeting I attended, I spoke about the education omnibus trailer, the AB 1808, and I did bring you some information. President Martinez, Tony, can you give that to him?
Excellent, thank you.
And I do want to report out that on September 28th, we signed a tentative agreement with the district, and it took 16 days, but we had our ratification, including our information meeting, and the tentative agreement and the 3 MOUs all passed. And I would just like to report out that our members are looking forward to the classification and compensation study, and we're hoping, Rhonda, that can be done as quickly as possible, as soon as, looking at January. So, and I do want to express that I'm very sad that one of the MOUs for a new job description was not passed by the members, and it's unfortunate that the bargaining members would not want a new job description for CSCA. So I'm, disappointed with that, and also looking forward for the CERP for our classified members. So thank you. That's all.
And congratulations on getting that passed. I know it's difficult sometimes.
Yes, 16 days, so we did it pretty quickly, and that was without a waiver. So we were moving.
Excellent, excellent. Communication Workers of America. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And I wasn't there for the shakeout, but I like your picture on the back. Hope you have a great rest of the month. Thanks.
Thank you.
Excellent. Wow. That was quick. Short and sweet. Okay. Rialto School Managers Association. No one out there going, okay. All right. Comments from the superintendent.
Thank you, President Martinez. And I want to congratulate the Rialto Kiwanis and East Rialto Kiwanis Students of the Month. I believe all of them were mentioned earlier, but I do want to take the opportunity to recognize them one more time. From Rialto High School, we had Chelsea Mejia and Victor Mendoza. Carter High School, Eric Valverde and Shiana Gideon. Eisenhower High School, Brisa Sanchez and Cesar Ramos Castillo. I also want to take this time to congratulate Ms. Katrina Patterson, counselor at Carter High School. Many of us saw her featured on our district's Bridge and Futures video when she earned the Juvenile Justice Award from the County Probation Department. Ms. Patterson serves us in the exemplary fashion as the Wellness Center counselor at Carter High School. We are happy for her success. Also last week, some staff members were treated once again to a 2-day training on strategic thinking by Dr. Cook, known to many as the Zen Master and the Intellectual Warrior. Dr. Cook once more convincingly challenged our traditional way of thinking, emphasizing the absolute agency each of us has over our individual thinking and actions. For those who chose to be at the third day on Saturday of the training, they were in for a special treat. Dr. Cook introduced a completely new and compelling way to view class. Not class as a natural caste system where one is born into, for example, nobility, clergy, or the hoi polloi, or the masses. Nor class within a capitalist system defined by economic status, lower class, middle class, upper class. But class based on our human traits, body, soul, and spirit, where spirit is a class we all should aspire to be a part of. Too much for now, but I share this because our volunteers, who were recognized earlier today, form part of this very particular class, a class driven by the heart, by goodness, by humanity, and by love and kindness. So I want to congratulate all of our Parent Summit volunteers who have dedicated countless hours for years with the Parent Summit. Sometimes we complain about how much or how long we have to work, and more recently when, for example, Saturday. But to a volunteer, it is a labor of love and a sense of service. And we've heard before from Muhammad Ali that service is the rent you pay for your room on this earth. Service is also a great example of goodness, of wanting to make a difference for others, not simply because we are humankind, but also because we are kind humans. But service must be voluntary for it to be meaningful and noble. When it is required, it often loses its purpose and diminishes its intended impact. Thank you, parents and staff members, for the service you continue to provide our children and the district community. Thank you for volunteering from the heart, for serving with love and kindness without asking for any kind of compensation. The only thing you ask for is a little respect, just a little bit. RESPECT, in the form of consistent, honest, and transparent communication, nothing else. And as superintendent, I don't believe that is asking for much. In fact, it is what we staff members should be doing to begin with, if not because we mean it, because we are paid to do it. Good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. We've heard that before. As such, I encourage you to surround yourselves with those who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. I encourage you to surround yourselves with beautiful people like the ones we honored tonight. So be kind to them and be thankful, for as Dr. Cook would say, they have class. And lastly, no one is an island, and generosity and relationships go a long way. This could not be truer when it comes to Mr. Stan Futch, who was one of the first people I met when I came to Rialto. A retired local fire engineer, Mr. Futch took helms as president of the Westside Action Group last year. This social justice group has continued a lot of positive community outreach, many which go unnoticed. A couple of days ago, Stan informed me that WAG acquired more than 20 large boxes of reams of paper for the classroom teachers. And he wanted to drop them off for the teachers at Carter High School. He asked if I could come by at 9 a.m. this morning and help him and Miss Samina Carter and Principal Dr. Chavez with the delivery. I'm happy to say that we did most of the heavy lifting from the delivery truck. I'm happy to say that we got our workout in this morning. So thank you, Stan, for being a great education supporter and a friend of the Rialto Unified School District. We appreciate WAG's support for our teachers and students. Thank you much.
Thank you, Dr. Avila. Great report. It's coming your way. Student Board Member Hernandez.
Thank you, President Martinez. Good evening, everyone. I am looking forward to being a part of the Rialto Equity Council beginning tomorrow and to represent Rialto Unified at the Nutritional Advisory Council next month, and also to going to SCBA convention in San Francisco. It is super cool to go and also to be notified that we won the Golden Bell, and it is such an honor. And yeah, thank you so much.
Excellent. Okay, Mr. Ayala, Board Member Ayala.
Well, thank you, President Martinez. I'll continue with my points of view, and just to share with those out there in the audience, my points of view are usually personal. I learn from experiences and from my family, and they're intended to help our community relate in any way or form to help them down their path with their children. And so tonight's kind of topic is centered around what do we do with our kids when they disappoint us relating to education. It hurts us, but they're our kids, okay? So we want to make sure we keep the doors open to our kids, and you simply just love them. And if you haven't done so, do it unconditionally. For whatever reason, many of them just need more time. And sometimes when we push them, yes, it does help some, and others, it creates additional challenges. And I can tell you, we pushed one a little bit, and I think they're going to come backwards. And when you do that sometimes, and they're not ready and they don't do well in their endeavors, the doors sometimes don't open again. So this is a word of caution. Make sure they're kind of ready, okay? And they have to be motivated, okay? So if they don't have a real good reason for pursuing their career paths, you know, it could sometimes create the challenges that they're not going to need. And without getting into details, I have two granddaughters that are making some tough decisions right now. We're going to support them with the best that we can, and remember that unconditional love doesn't come to everybody, and it only comes usually once, and it comes once in a lifetime from the parents, and not everybody gets it. But if you can share that with your children, I guarantee you they're gonna experience something they'll never forget the rest of their lives. With that in mind, I'll conclude with a little story that my mom shared with me when I was a young man, and she said, "Mijo, whatever you do in life, you don't have to do it to try to impress me. I just want you happy. So you go out there and don't get yourself in trouble. Listen to your teachers, but I want you happy." So I'll end with that. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share some points of view.
Ms. Walker.
Thank you. I just want to first start off with a reminder that on Halloween Day, the city of Rialto is having their Halloween hijinks. So if you don't do trick-or-treating, or you don't want people at your door, but you still want to be a part of it, just make sure you go out at downtown Rialto. Tomorrow morning, there'll be the Assemblywoman Eloise Reyes is actually doing a pumpkin giveaway at one of our schools at Kelly Elementary from 8 to 9:30. So if anybody's interested in helping give out pumpkins, definitely show up for that. I'm not going to be able to do that because I'll be at the Equity Council meeting tomorrow morning. But say you're standing in my stead then. Okay. Tomorrow at Kelly. And then the other things are just glad to hear about all the campus activities that went on during College Week. It sounded like there was a really kind of a comprehensive program going on all the campuses. Just looking forward to what are the outcomes when that happens, so all the kids that get accepted to college get their financial aid on time and early. That would be great. the excitement about the pathways in our district for all of the high schools. So excited about seeing how many articulated classes, new A through G classes that we have, which means that kids aren't taking classes just for not interesting but don't go to anything. So making them not only ready for college but also preparing for the career. So thank you to Dr. D'Souza and Ms. Chan for really working diligently on the areas around college as well as the career part to make the overall connection. I do want to definitely say something about what Ms. Brewery said in her comment. I usually don't address public comment, but to make sure that because there are for special education students, there's a college for everybody, and every college that has federal money has programs for students with special needs. So to understand that when we're making those plans, that we think about that for the post-secondary options for all of our students. And so even with our pathway agreements and proposed agreements, even at Valley College, they've got a very robust programming for students with disabilities and or other abilities. So I want to make sure that, I don't see Dr. D'Souza and Ms. Chan in, that they follow up, and Dr. Avila, if you can, just to make sure that they do that. And then the last thing is, I can't read my own scribble. The last thing is congratulations to all the parents who received their awards, their recognition for the Parent Summit. Of course, this is how many years now? 10 years? 10. It was the 10th year, and so we've seen many parents participate, many families, and just excited to see how much energy and everybody still participates. And thank you for all the work that you all have done to make it a great event. Thank you.
Excellent report. Clerk O'Kelly.
Yes, I have a couple of different things, but I wanted to start off by saying, go Eisenhower, 9-0, woo! Very proud. That's like the old days at Eisenhower when we were winning every game. So I have to crow about that a little bit. And also, although they're not doing it right now apparently, go Dodgers. I wanted to first of all say thank you again to the parents who are still here that got recognized tonight, because we see these same faces over and over and over again, and you are very, very valuable to us. We appreciate your help, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We could not do it without you. And I want to thank Dr. D'Souza and Juanita Chan for an excellent presentation on our CTE pathways and our program. I am so proud of each of our high schools. They have all developed their own unique career pathways for that school based on the expertise and things they have at that school to use. And I think these are going to be great things for our kids, that they're going to graduate being able to do something, you know. I also wanted to say next week is Halloween, and I am the only one representing here with orange and black. Hello. But I thought I'd share, since Halloween is traditionally an Irish holiday, and I am, with a name like O'Kelly, obviously of Irish descent, I thought I'd share a few fun facts about Halloween. First of all, Halloween is known, Ireland is considered to be the birthplace of Halloween. That's where it all started. 2,000 years ago, it was celebrated on October 31st because that was the last day of the Celtic calendar. And that Halloween was actually a pagan holiday that honored the dead. Trick-or-treating evolved from the ancient Celtic tradition of putting out treats and food to placate the spirits that roamed the streets at Samhain. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's a sacred festival in Ireland that marked the end of the calendar year. So October 31st was the end of their calendar year, and that's when all this took place. Halloween is the second highest grossing commercial holiday after Christmas. In other words, after Christmas, the most money is spent on Halloween. And Halloween is recognized as the third largest party day after New Year's and Super Bowl Sunday. And more than 93% of children go trick-or-treating for Halloween. This one I thought was interesting. The owl is one of the most popular Halloween images. During medieval times, owls were seen as witches. And it was said that if you hearing an owl's call was a sign that someone was about to die. So the unique thing about this is that October 31st is also the first day of Dia de Muertos, or Day of the Dead, which lasts from October 31st to November 2nd. And they have that span because they want to coincide with the Western Christianity trio of All Saints Day, All Souls Day, and All Saints Eve. So it all falls in line together. And this holiday is celebrated throughout Mexico and focuses on gatherings of family and friends to remember loved ones who have died and help support their spiritual journey. The Disney movie Coco depicts this wonderfully. I enjoyed Coco. So wanted to share that, and also to say that the colors of Halloween are orange and black. Orange because it's associated with the fall harvest, and black is associated with darkness and death. So, interesting stuff. Thank you.
And Cal State has a big celebration going on about Dia de los Muertos, if I remember right. I don't remember the dates, but it's there. Check into it. Vice President Montez.
Thank you, Board President Mr. Martinez. Just would like to welcome everybody here tonight. I know the Dodger game's still going on, right?
They lost.
Oh. Hate to be the one to break it to you guys.
Well, actually, I'm from Massachusetts, so I used to be a Red Sox fan. So I'm okay.
You're just full of great.
Well, you can go park the car. You can go park the car in Boston.
Yeah, you park my car in Harvard Yard.
All right. Well, sorry to break it, everybody. I was hoping we had good news about the Dodgers, but unfortunately, we don't. I just want to also congratulate the parents that were recognized tonight. Thank you for everything you guys do. Like Ms. O'Kelly said, many parents have been volunteers for many years, and we hope that you continue to volunteer for many more years. We need you. This district, our schools need you. Our students need you. So thank you for everything that you do. We can't thank you enough. I want to also congratulate Mrs. Katrina Patterson on her recognition with all of her wonderful work with our youth. I want to also congratulate Mrs. Saida Joffrey, who was recently awarded a prestigious award by the original Rialto Democratic Club here in the community, and I can't think of anybody more deserving. Ms. Joffrey, for those of you who don't know, does a lot more than just the work that you see her do here at the district. So thank you for everything that you do. Obviously, people in the community outside of the district are also taking notice on all of the good work that you do. So again, thank you. I want to also thank Casero Middle School for inviting me this past Friday, October 19th. They held a career day at Casero Middle School. Senator Connie Leyva was in attendance. We had some various small business owners from surrounding communities that were present. They had Norman Nunez from San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department there, and various other San Bernardino County Sheriff officials and deputies there presenting, speaking to the kids, talking to them about the different career opportunities and how education really is the key to a lot of the success that a lot of the people have been able to achieve for their careers. I want to also thank the invitation for tomorrow over at Kelly. I'm not going to be able to make it after all either. I wanted to go, but we can't be everywhere. And for those who can make it to the pumpkin patch, please do try to make it. I'm not going to say no names, Mr. Martinez, but I know that
Counter's going crazy
I know that
right
you
now.
try. I know that you try. So thank you guys. I don't have a whole lot. I want to wrap it up quick. I was hoping we could hurry up and go watch the game, but unfortunately it's over. So maybe we can hurry up and just go home and pout. But with that said, thank you. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I just wanted to start, I meant to say at last board meeting, I'm looking at the fall colors from Dunn students. Unbelievable. If you haven't seen it, please drop by, see that one, and then this one. Dunn is college and career ready. I may not say it often enough, but I do appreciate it and I do notice it. There's a difference between a degree and a certification. Long term, a certification won't do as much as a degree will. Basically, I'm saying that for our students or adults, whomever wants to get a certification, it'll get you a job. It'll prove you have a skill. It'll get you more pay than basically starting wages. But if you go up against anyone with a degree for a promotion, the degree is probably going to get it. So that is the main difference. But for the lifelong learners, which we all have to be now, well, you're going to be learning a lot. So the degree, if it's in math or in physics or anything like that, that doesn't really change, that's great. Other than that, a bachelor's in computer science, I've seen a lot of people with certifications get hired over degrees because a degree is 5 years old, 10 years old. So those kind of things are what you have to learn. I was lucky enough all my life to know enough to get in on the ground floor early, get in a job early before they had any degrees, before certifications were there. I was able to promote myself, and basically when you do that, you're there, you're first in, but because of lack of a certification or lack of a degree, you may get stuck unless you are a lifelong learner, in which case you would move to a certification, and if you chose to get a degree. Good example was back in the day, this board, other than the young student over here, may remember the Zenith or the Admiral works in a drawer. And that was when transistors first came out. We're talking probably the early 60s. Transistors came out in the 50s. I loved my little transistor radio, which was that big probably. And I used it all the time. It interested me enough to get in early. I learned about that. I learned about integrated circuits. I was a manager for basically a repair facility for home electronics. So I saw the wave of computers coming in because the works in the drawer got displaced by integrated circuits. Being on the outside of education in industry, you get to go to a lot of trainings from the manufacturer. So you're not quite bleeding edge, you're not in the research of college. But once that has been proven, then the manufacturers get it, so you're on the cutting edge. When I first got my start in education, I was in shock. I was used to doing piecework, and if I needed a raise, I'd work harder, I'd stay longer. Then I got into education, and all that cutting edge I came in, and again, I was in shock because all the electronics were 10 years old. And I'm going, well, just to give you an idea, when the cutting edge of industry was Laserdisc and VHS going out, at that point, education had beta tape. And, well, that has not gone away. Even though we are trying, that gap in time, in response time, has to change if we're going to get our students ready for the jobs of 2030. And I look out that far because if I don't, then we may fall back. Well, I know that I'm not irreplaceable. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this is my niche. I know about it. I love it. And I pester everyone about it. So that is part of what my wife calls OCD on my part. One thing that we can do, Dr. Avila, for certifications at high school graduation, CompTIA offers hardware, networking, and cybersecurity certifications. They could walk into Best Buy and get a job repairing items if they had the hardware or the networking. They could be part of the Geek Squad. That's going to pay them substantially more than, flipping burgers or anything like that. So we really need to, I continue to push for this. Again, the difference is certifications, you can get them and you should get them, and you have to replace them probably every 5 years, 10 years definitely, because by then technology has changed. Electronics are good for about 8 years. Software changes about every 2 years. That's why Microsoft is always wanting your money for updating Word, the Microsoft Office, and operating systems. So one thing that STEM does offer special ed is many of the special ed students excel at it. They're in their own world, but that's a plus for programming, for repairs, that kind of thing. I had one guy who was probably special ed. He wasn't good with customers, but he was a wizard with electronics. I've seen it. It can be done. It's happening all over the place. So don't lose hope. We're not going to fail our special ed students either. Okay. We will continue on here. Okay, consent calendar items. All items on the consent calendar will be acted upon in one motion unless pulled by Board of Education members or the superintendent for individual action. Excuse me. Approve consent items reference E through J. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any polls? Comments? Ms. O'Kel?
No, not for that.
Okay, and do I not see any questions, comments, or polls? Okay, we are voting on page 5, so preferential vote by student board member?
Aye.
Thank you. And vote by board members?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
President Martinez,
Yes, sir.
if we can go back to item D, public hearing.
Item E, to approve the minutes of the regular Board of Education meeting held October 10th.
No,
We forgot to cover the
Williams
Williams
settlement, okay.
So we just
Thank you.
approved item E through J with the vote.
Okay, we'll leave that to stand.
And
We will back up.
yeah.
Thank you, excellent, excellent eye there. Okay, public information. We are opening a public hearing on the Williams Settlement Legislation Quarterly Uniform Complaint Report, summary covering July through September of 2018, reference D1.1. And for the public watching on TV, it basically says instructional materials, facilities, teacher vacancies, and misassignments. Number of complaints received for those are 0. Number of complaints resolved, because there have been no complaints, 0. Number of complaints unresolved, again, because there were no complaints, 0. And do we have any comments or questions on the public information hearing? Okay. There is actually no vote for it. Information only. So we begin with K1. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. K1 is to approve the change of date of the Board of Education meeting from Wednesday, December 5th of 2018 to Friday, December 7th of 2018 in order to be in compliance with Education Code Sections 5017, 35143, and 7200 C. 72000 C 2A. And that basically says that the first Friday, this time December 7th, or thereafter, within 15 days, you have to reseat or seat the electeds, newly electeds. So again, we have Ms. Walker running and Mr. Montez running. I already voted, and they're in my vote, so just a hint. Okay, vote by board members, or questions or comments, I'm sorry.
Is that
Mr. Montez?
No, I'm sorry, I was about to vote.
Okay. Vote by board members.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion and a second for K2, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. K2 is to adopt resolution number 181916, declaring the week of October 23rd through 31 of 2018 as National Red Ribbon Week, and encourage all teachers, support staff, and students to participate in alcohol and drug prevention education programs and activities. Questions, comments by board? Vote by board members.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion and a second on K3, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. K3 is to adopt resolution number 181917, establishing a supplemental early retirement plan, or SERP, for certificated management or non-management, classified management or non-management, supervisory, and confidential employees of the Rialto Unified School District, July 1st of 2019, or effective July 1st of 2019. Questions? Ms. O'Kelly.
Well, I just want to say I'm super excited about this. I think it's great. But I also had a couple questions. Is there a cost to the district when we do this?
We are, the numbers we're driving, we are projecting savings, not costs.
So nothing out of the general fund. The savings we get from those
Again,
salaries are going to hire all the new people.
You're correct.
And pay the supervisory guys, Keenan and Associates.
You're correct. So if you look at our teacher salary schedules and our ranges, so we believe this program will realize savings, but we don't know the number yet. I'm going to be clear with the board until we go to the process. At the end, I'm going to bring a report back to you for your approval, what that number represents and what the realized savings could be over the next 5 years.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just know that the numbers were projected on very, very conservative numbers.
That's right.
So if nothing else, it will increase the projected.
The only thing that would stop us from moving forward is, what would that be? If there were no
participation, there's a threshold.
Yeah, the participations among the different classifications, then that will bring what realized savings is going to be.
Okay,
or
I do
cost,
have one more question, but if anyone else has a question. Okay, I wanted to verify, this could be read either way, so I want to be very clear when I vote. Does this include our regular classified staff?
Yes, any staff 6 hours or more. Any staff member classified 6 hours or more.
Okay, that is what I wanted to hear. I wanted to thank you for that because last time, 9 years ago roughly, when we did this, a couple of years later we had a conversation and there was no savings. It was a wash for classifieds. So I was concerned, and you have waylaid that concern. So it's good for everybody, 6 hours or more. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Get ready to vote? Okay, vote by board members.
Aye.
A hearty aye. Okay, motion and a second for K4, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. K4 is to approve an agreement with Keenan & Associates as a consultant to assist with the design, implementation, and administration of a supplemental early retirement plan, SERP, effective October 25th of this year, 2018, through the duration of all benefits paid under the plan over a period of 5 years at a 3.75% fee based on annual premiums to be paid from the general fund. Any questions or comments? Okay, it's a standard SERP for those who don't know. Okay, vote by board members.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion and a second on K5, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Question here.
Yes.
Mohammed, is this the one that still needs to be discussed?
Yeah, we need to go. It will be to be discussed in closed session.
5 and 6, wouldn't it be? Because we haven't discussed either of them.
5 and 6.
Right, okay.
So we need to come back.
Would we like to break now? And then we'll just come back and finish? Okay. If you'd like to go home and do homework or prepare yourself for your future. All right. Can I have a motion and a second to go into closed session, please?
So moved.
Okay, I have first, second, and third. Okay, vote by board members to go into closed session.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We should be back, I'm guessing, Dr. Avila? Maybe a half hour? Or less is the estimate. Thank you. See you in a bit.
ready?
Waiting for Dr. Avila. So we can go with 3 board members. Good.
It's K5, huh? K5, D6.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then December 7th, I'm going to do it, right?
I will be.
Because you were going to be on vacation or something.
Okay, we're ready to proceed. So I need a motion and a second to bring us back into open session.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And vote by board members?
Aye.
Okay. We are back on board with open session at 9:14. And, okay, K5, we have a motion and a second, but let's take it again. I'm looking for a motion and a second again, please.
Move to approve K5.
Second?
Thank you. K5 is to deny liability claim number 171808. Questions, comments? Vote by board members.
Aye.
Okay, and we have K6. Motion and a second, please.
So moved?
Second.
Thank you. K6 is deny liability claim number 181903. Vote by board members.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, then we have the board self-evaluation session. Discussion of, well, hold on. K7, motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. K7 is board self-evaluation session, a discussion of results from the Board of Education's self-evaluation report. And basically, the public may have heard, but we spent $200 to see how the board was doing, something that California School Boards Association suggests we do every year. It's been a while, and so I figured let's go ahead and do it. And board members, we are looking at item K7, so I point you to the narrative in the back. And do you have any comments, or do you have a preferred way of proceeding?
Well, I think the important thing is to look at this, you know, obviously on most items, we were all together on it, but there are some that we were not, and I think we need to, you know, read those and think about them and address them
Yes.
in our future board
Training?
or-
Yes, excellent. Okay, and I went ahead and kind of thought along those lines. I wanted to point out for discussion, there are actually sections. The first one is on board unity. And we were okay on, and by okay I mean we met consensus, which is a 3 of 5, just like board members. 3, it passes anything. So if we were 3 or more, here it shows a full battery. So if you have it, you'll understand it. Item 5 and 6 was 2 of 5. So on K5, do we have any comment? Only 2 board members rated us as almost always. The board commits the time to become informed, almost always 2, often 2, and less often 1. So comments? As Ms. O'Kelly suggested, we will plan on addressing that within the board training in the next year. The next where we could not reach consensus according to our self-evaluation, individual board members do not undermine board decisions, and almost always 2, often 2, and rarely 1. So comments or input? Okay. We'll move to the second, roles and responsibility, in which case there were actually where we could not meet consensus was board members keep confidential matters confidential, almost always 2, often 2, less often 1. And the other was individual board members do not attempt to direct the superintendent. We're supposed to direct them as a group. Okay, on that, almost always we met 1, often was 3, and less often was 1. So we're showing you our warts, the good and the bad.
And the
I think
ugly.
we skipped over one.
Did we? Well, if it had a 3 or above on the almost always, I skipped it. So if you're looking at,
Number 10.
yeah, that had a 3. Miss O'Kelly is saying,
What about board culture number 12?
I haven't got there yet. Miss O'Kelly is asking about number 10. The board gives direction to the superintendent only at board meetings. The reason I skipped over it because almost always we met consensus with 3. And then,
I see.
Then often was 1 and less often is 1. I don't want to be here all night is why. This is available as item 7.1 through 7, I believe it's 7.5, end of the book. It's available to the public. It's on the website, and many of the public has it in their hand. So going to board culture, if you have something to say on number 12, Board Vice President Montez, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's important to, regardless of difference of opinions, regardless of governing styles, I think it's important to point out that all 5 board members believe that the superintendent is treated with the board treats the superintendent with respect. Now that's our opinion. That might I don't know if that's his or not, but
It is.
But this is our
Show us your hands while you say that.
and I think it's important because whether or not we agree with ourselves as a board, with the superintendent, as board members, I think it's important that we don't just say it, but we truly believe it and we follow through with it, because we also want him to treat everybody else with respect, not just us as a board, but all of his leadership team, all of his school site leadership teams, and basically as a superintendent and the CEO of the district, everyone really that's part of this district family, right? So we want to continue to lead by example. We want him to lead by example, and I think this was a good evaluation. Maybe some of the answers, some of our answers or scores might be surprising to some of us or to anyone that takes a look at it, but it's interesting to see and take a look at, and I think we could definitely learn from it and grow from it, and maybe the next time we take an evaluation like this, a self-evaluation, we might score differently.
Absolutely.
So I thought it was an interesting process, and I don't remember doing one this way in the past, but I definitely think it's good feedback, and it's for everybody to see. Anybody can review it, and and there's some areas where we scored really low. It's for us to look at and learn from, and like you said, maybe even get some training.
I viewed this as very
There's only one area
positive.
we scored low in at all, and that's the pale one. There is a mistake on number 16. With those numbers, it should not be a solid colored in little, whatever that thing's supposed to be.
Battery?
Yeah.
I think I asked that question on that as well. Number 16 is board members demonstrate they understand other perspectives. It reads as almost always 2, often 3.
Right.
And I think if we came in at least as often, it looks like a full battery. So that was their scoring, not our scoring. Let's just let the public know. I'll start from the very beginning. Number 1, the board is focused on achievement for all students.
No. We weren't saying that.
Okay.
We weren't saying that.
Just checking.
And just to board culture, while we're even laughing about that, in that section of board culture, two of the questions are, board members follow agreements on how they will act towards each other, and board members treat each other with respect. And we all, it's all 5s on that section. Yeah. And I just want to say that even in my 4 years of being on this board as my first term, it was drastically different when I came.
Yeah.
It was drastically different. Muhammad knows. So because at that time, it was drastically different. So I'm just saying that the cohesion that we've had over the last several years to work together, to make agreements, to be respectful, not only to our superintendent, but to each other, has been phenomenal, and it has made us stronger to be able to move forward for the success for our students. So just pat everybody on the back, because we have just done a good job about humility and being humble and working together, and the importance of where that is.
Let's go here.
All the way
okay.
Kumbaya moment.
There's a number 5.
Let's not leave the super out.
Right. Super out. Let's get
there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So I wanted to just note that, because the civility of which we have now, and I and the respect for each other, because it scared me at first. I was like,
drastic improvement.
It's a war zone.
We were going through some tough stuff.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And so just to come out from there, and then just the way we've been able to work for the last several years has been just impressive for me, and I'm sure for the community as well, as they watch us as well. So
absolutely. That's feedback I've heard from the public as well. Just so the public will know, we had the option of having California School Board send someone down, and that would have only been $2,500. So we opted for the $200 plan. Okay. On board operations, I'm going to open it up, see if anyone's got comments here. Otherwise, I'll just read number 22.
Number 19, which is board members receive timely information. Thank you to the district. Thank you to the safety officers who come out. Even one day they missed a date or something, and Chief came out on a Saturday, and we're like, who is that man in some jeans and coming? But just that we get the information on time, electronically on time, so we can review. We get it in hard copy, so there's never a reason why we say we didn't get something. We always have our information, and I thank you for that, because it gives us time to make decisions, timely decisions.
Any other comments on board operations section 18 through 24? Okay, just quickly, I'll read number 22, which is the part battery. Board members follow agreements about how to request clarifying or additional information about agenda items. Recommendation by National and California School Boards Association is to ask in front of time, ahead of the board meeting. Sometimes we notice something and we ask during the meeting. It was 3 board members almost always, 1 was often, and 1 was less often. Just so the public will know, 18, the board governs within board adopted policies, bylaws, and protocols to manage board operations. Almost always was a 3. I'm just going to read that column. Board members receive timely information, 5. Board members receive adequate information, 3. Board members receive the same information, 3. Board members follow agreements about how to request. I already read that one. That was a 3. Board members follow agreements on how to bring up new ideas. That's a 3.
If we could go back to 22.
Yes, sir.
Board members follow agreements about how to request clarifying or additional information about agenda items. Sometimes sometimes it's beneficial for the district to address or provide information during the public board meetings.
Absolutely.
Sometimes people sitting at home watching the meeting might not fully understand the agenda item unless there's more information is provided, unless more information is discussed, especially when they don't have access to computer, they're watching it on cable, or they don't have an agenda in front of them. And although CSBA and board members who have attended the Masters of Governance program through CSBA, and it's common protocol to, we'd like to say, not catch staff by surprise and not surprise them with additional information or questions or heavy questions during a board meeting. Sometimes I believe sometimes it's necessary to keep staff on their toes, to keep the district on its toes, to show to the community that we have the best people, we have hardworking people, we have people doing jobs that they're masters at doing. And if we never question anything, if we never ask anything, and we just vote all the time without ever mentioning or questioning or asking any type of information, people can get the wrong impression and say, man, geez, that's nothing but a rubber stamping board right there. And I don't necessarily encourage board members in our district or in any other district to purposely try to trip staff up and make their job hard or blow them out of the water. But there are times where certain agenda items or certain topics or certain discussions need to be held in the public forum, in the public view. So don't take it personal. We've learned to not take nothing personal. We've learned to grow thick skin. We've had people throw tomatoes at us, and if not tomatoes, potatoes, and everything else you can think of. And we're here for you, to support you and help you in whatever way that we can. But at the same time, we need to let the public know, and we need to let the other people that are part of the district family know that we're doing our job. Because if we just approve everything and never question anything, and what are you doing here? Anybody can do that.
I won't approve anything I don't understand.
Exactly.
I'm going to question. But I also want to point out, if people who answer the questions put these items on the agenda, if they put it on the agenda, I'm sure they feel comfortable talking about it and explaining it to us. They should, if it's an agenda item.
Yes.
So.
I just want to say on that same note, because I know I asked questions even after I read the other information, but you all give such compelling presentations. It just makes me want to delve deeper. Get just really excited. That's why. That was it.
Mr. Ayala?
No, I have no comment.
Okay.
I'm trying to go home.
You know, the real value about this self-evaluation in public, the feedback that you see is really our heart. We're not trying to pull anything. We're not trying to hide anything. It's all out there. And I'm just here to tell you, it's thick skin. Okay. Number 24. Board members follow agreements on how concerns from the community will be handled. And that was a 2.
And a 3.
2 and a 3.
Yeah, okay, almost always 2, and then often a 3. Okay, board meetings themselves, going back to just reading the ones that we did not get at least a 3 on. There is a good relationship between how long the board spends on an agenda item not counting this one, and the importance of the item. We got almost always a 3, often a 1, and then 1 was not sure. So comments or questions on board meeting section? Okay.
No, I think we should also point out.
Into the mic. Into the mic.
We should also point out, the 5s. We got some high scores here too.
Be the one pointing out.
Maybe
the
you don't want to give yourself some credit, but we scored a 5 on the board agrees on the role of the board president managing board meetings, and if anybody here felt otherwise, obviously we would have scored it differently. Board members come to meetings prepared. All 4 of us agreed except for one said often, and these are good scores. So I encourage anybody to take a good look at this evaluation.
I'm glad you point that out, because very definitely these are good scores. It's not meant to say anything else.
Now, have this self-evaluation been given during the difficult times of the district? It might have been
quite a difference. Yes, as Ms. Walker points out. Okay, board development. Here's where we're a little shaky on it. I'll read all. There's 4 of them there. Maybe there's some over here, so let me. Okay, there's only 4 in this section. The board agrees on process for identifying officers. Almost always is 4, and less often is 1, which is a rating of a 3 on a scale of 5. 4 of us gave a 5 rating, and only 1 gave a 3 rating. The board plans for the development and training of the board, which we're doing right now. Almost always, only 1 board member felt that. 3 felt that we often did, and less often was 1. The board effectively orients new members. Almost always 2 felt that way. Often was 1, and less often was 2, and I was one of the dissenters, probably one of the less often. We could improve.
Can we skip over to support?
I want to read our lowest score on the entire chart.
I don't.
Okay, first of all, I'll read it, but I'll give you why as well. The board reviews its government's agreements regularly. This was our lowest score. 1 felt almost always, 1 felt often, 3 felt less often. I felt it was a poorly asked question, because the board reviews and updates the government's documents in a continual rotating basis. It's in section F of every agenda. First and second reading.
Yeah, but the board...
Into the microphone.
The board as a whole... I'm sorry, I'm tired. I should just be quiet. The board as a whole does not meet often enough to review these governance policies. We generally adopt CSBA recommended changes in the policies to our board bylaws, but we rarely, at least when I read the question, I took it as how often do we get together and actually sit and review not only our current board policies, but policies that that we might want to revise.
Right, because many of them may be outdated and need updated.
And section F, I felt the way you both did as well. And every district that I know of follows CSBA because it's such a complex item. CSBA makes a recommendation, our staff updates it, and we have a first and a second reading. It's in section F for the last 6 months to a year in every board agenda. So we're on a rotating basis constantly reading it. But if you read it as the other interpretation, which I also did, they never stick something under my nose, just the board bylaws or board protocols, something like that. So it depends which way, and I had to really look at it and say, we're constantly looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
They are available online through Gannett.
Yes, exactly. Other
But
comments?
one good way to get going is, as Mr. Martinez said, Section F of the agenda. In every single agenda, they have the CSBA updates of our board policies.
Yes,
So.
yes. Now, the hard part is always remembering they're updated and following them. That is the hardest part. Okay, on Section 2, let's see, on page 4 of 5, reference 7.4, number 36 through number 47, I'm happy to report that
And 38.
there were
The whole page we did very well on. We were all together.
And happy to report on that. Just in the interest of time, if you're really interested, please get back into that. Request this or go online. It's available in color, no less. Okay, accountability, number 48 through number 53. All of them had at least 3 and almost always, so we gained consensus there. One of them had 5 as almost always, and that was the board evaluates the performance of the superintendent based on established expectations, which we have been doing, and we're working on the calendar to do that again. I've already mentioned it to them. The board, and the one we got the lowest rating on almost always was 1, often was 2, less often was 1, and rarely 1. The board evaluates the performance of the board.
Because this is the first time we've ever done it.
This is the first time we've done it this way.
In my 6 years, it's the first time we've ever done it.
It's been that long, correct. Last time they came here, and this is actually a better way of doing it. The other one was, I don't know. Not sure why it wasn't as good. Okay, community leadership, 54 through 58. Let's see, the board uses cohesive messages to communicate district priorities, goals, and needs, almost always 2. So we didn't get a consensus there, but a full battery because often 3 board members were there. That's what they felt. The board provides community leadership on educational issues. Almost always we had consensus. There were 3 there. The board pursues partnerships to support district efforts, almost always 2 and often 3. That's what the board members voted on their self-evaluation. The board advocates on behalf of students and public education at the local, state, and federal levels, almost always 2 and often 2. Rarely was one vote. The board informs the community on district priorities, progress, needs, opportunities for involvement. And that, again, we gained consensus as a 3. So everyone can wake up again. We're going back to the regular agenda. Okay. And we are going to K8, and I must...
We have to vote on.
That's right. Board self-evaluation session, which we just went through. Vote by board members to put it in the record.
Aye.
Aye. Ms. O'Kelly?
Sorry.
The vote by board members on the board evaluation to put it in the record.
Oh. Did we... What's the question?
I'm just saying aye, yes.
Aye.
Just read it to record.
We're almost done. Okay. K8, motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. And as amended, the name was changed to Edgar Montez. So appoint Vice President Edgar Montez as a voting representative to the county committee as successor for the 4-member Dina Walker, who was elected as a voting representative at the December 6th, 2017 Board of Education meeting and is unavailable to serve for that evening. So spoke with Mr. Montez, Vice President Montez, before this, and he bailed me out. So vote by board members.
Aye.
One abstain.
One abstention, okay. And motion and a second on K9, please.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. K9 is to approve the recommendations of the Administrative Hearing Panel, stipulated expulsions, case numbers 18-19-10, 18-19-9, 18-19-7, 18-19-5. Questions, comments? Seeing none, vote by board members. Aye. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Rialto Unified School District will be held on Wednesday, November 14th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Dr. John R. Casalunas Education Center, 182 East Walnut Avenue, Rialto, California. Materials distributed or presented to the Board of Education, the board meeting, are available upon request from the superintendent's office. And Mr. Montez, your favorite part, adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All right. Our student board member. Vote by board members.
Aye.
And vote by public, I'm sure aye. Good night, all. 9:44.